Hello, everyone. This is Dr. David and my dear colleague Adam Holman and Sevda. And Sevda's going to, you won't see Sevda, but she's going to take your place to ask us some questions about the 5 secrets of effective communication and the disarming technique that we just did a video of. Now, what's the disarming technique in a nutshell? When someone criticizes you, the disarming techniques means you respond by finding truth in what they are saying rather than defending yourself. And it's based on the law of opposites. And that's if you defend yourself, which you'll have the overwhelming urge to do when someone attacks or criticizes you, and you think their criticisms are unfair, you defend yourself, you'll confirm that what they're saying is right, and the interaction will escalate, the conflict will get worse. And that's a paradox. And the other side of the paradox is if you genuinely see the truth in a criticism that seems unfair and untrue, it will put the lie to the criticism, and the other person will lower their defenses, and you'll have a chance to form a deeper and more loving relationship. So let's take a question or two, and then I'll answer the question later on with a great story. What do you do if the disarming technique doesn't work? And boy, do I have a whopper for you on that question. But we have another question here first from Sevda, conveying for someone in the audience. In fact, this is a question you might have asked, and Sevda's now going to ask it for you.
Thank you, David. When you're using the disarming technique, what do you do when someone comes to you with a completely untrue statement that
Yeah.
you can't find the truth in it?
Yeah, people always ask this question, and I never answer it in an abstract way because abstract philosophical answers are full of bullshit. They don't mean anything. They just lead to arguments. But if you have an example that is pregnant with insights and understanding. So, can you give me an example? Would you want to give me a totally untrue criticism, and I'll see if I can answer that?
Absolutely. So, David, your kids absolutely hate you.
Well, I'm sad to hear that because I've heard that from both of them at different times when they were growing up and felt like a real failure as a father. Let me share just one of the two with you. A tremendous love for my daughter, and thought, boy, if we could ever work together, how great would that be? And finally, a number of years ago, when I was writing my books, Feeling Good Together and When Panic Attacks, she worked with me for a year, and I'd write a chapter, and then she'd drive down from San Francisco, and I would about finish the draft on some fabulous new chapter for the book, and then she would sit down and edit it. And she was a great, great editor, and she had the courage to tell me the truth. And her typical, I would be drinking a cup of coffee, writing some chapter, and thinking, oh boy, this is just mind blowing. It's going to, everyone's going to be so impressed. And then I would give it to her. She'd sit down at the dining room table, and then she would bring it back an hour or two later, and then I would incorporate her edits. It was really fun. But typically, she would bring it back to me and say, "Dad, here's my recommendation on this chapter. First of all, bring it up on Microsoft Word, and then highlight it, and then hit the delete key, and delete the whole thing. And don't ever try to rewrite this chapter. It's terrible." And I would say, well, why is it so terrible? And she'd say, don't you see how pompous and ridiculous this sounds? And then I would look at it and I would say, oh, you're right. This is like horrible. But it was really fun because I got the best feedback from her, and so it was one of the happiest years of my life. But one we had just adopted 2 little kitties at the Humane Society, Happy and Popcorn. They were about, you could hold each one and hold them in 2 hands. They were just little and just very affectionate. And it was the springtime. And we were taking a break, so we went out on the back deck. And I think you've seen our back deck, and you have seen our back deck. And they were out there running around and jumping up, trying to catch moths and butterflies and experiencing spring for the first time. And then Senior turned to me and said, Dad, there's something I've been wanting to tell you. And I said, what's that, Senia? And she said, when I was a teenager, you weren't exactly the kind of dad that I needed.
Oh,
And I just felt crushed. And I think she was saying I was too focused on achievement, and she needed more love and kind of tender, warm approach. And I just said, Senia, I just feel so sad right now, and I just want you to know that I love you so much. And I hugged her, and we both cried, and it was, I think, the greatest moment of my life that I'll think back on. When on the day I die, if I'm aware, I'll remember that beautiful moment when my daughter expressed that pretty devastating criticism. And again, the idea is, if you see the truth in what the person is saying, the heavens can kind of open up, and if you defend yourself, you'll be relegated to hell or purgatory for another period of time.
yeah, what a gift to receive that and to have that moment between you two. And that gift could have easily been rejected if you jumped into the stance of defending yourself
Yeah.
and
Oh, I
saying,
was a very good father,
yeah, exactly, yeah. And it would have really denied that opportunity to have closeness and love and
Yeah.
warmth and that really
Yeah.
beautiful, tender moment to
Yeah.
see the truth. And oftentimes when we don't think something is true, that's the moment that we know our mind is jumping in and trying to defend us. And if we can step back
Yeah.
and really understand, we have the opportunity for
Yeah.
all of that closeness.
Yeah. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I have a question about a woman who insisted that the disarming technique wouldn't work, because a lot of you are thinking this. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
This was a woman who had started therapy, and she said her husband was critical of her all the time. And I was trying to teach her the disarming technique to find truth in what he was saying and role play it. And I gave her the handout with the 5 secrets of effective communication, and she hadn't really picked up on it very well yet. We were just getting started, but she was just saying, I just know this stuff wouldn't work with my husband. And then she came back the next week and she was just livid. And she said, I tried it with my husband and I tried disarming him, and it didn't work. And I was right and you were wrong, Dr. Burns. And I said, well, gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can you tell me how you use the 5 secrets, and what your husband said and what you said next that didn't work? And she said, yes, absolutely. After our last session, I went home and decided to make my husband's favorite meal for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out and bought the best food, and I cleaned up the house really nice, and I set candles on the dining room table, and I had his favorite, made his favorite pork dish, and I put on a beautiful dress. And when he came home, the house was all dim and the candles and music playing, and he said, what, is something wrong or what? And she said, no, I told him I wanted to show you a beautiful evening, so I cooked your favorite meal and decided to make it special for you. And he was still kind of confused and befuddled, and they sat down and began to eat. And then she said, is everything just exactly correct? And he said, yeah, everything's wonderful. The only one thing would be maybe the pork is a little bit on the dry side. And then she said, well, I told him then, if you don't like the pork, you can stick it up your. And I said, yeah, I can see why the disarming technique didn't work. She didn't get it. She didn't get the idea of finding truth in what the person is saying. She thought the disarming technique meant being nice to people, and it's important to be loving to people, and then then the heavens will open up. But I thought that was a great example. When people say this or that of the 5 secrets doesn't work, 100% of the time you're making an error, and if you can write down what did the other person say and what did you say next, then you'll see the error or the errors that you made.
Yeah, I would say most of the time when there's an issue with disarming, you probably haven't seen the truth in what the other person is saying. And ironically enough, when they respond to you, you have your next opportunity to disarm and see the truth in their
Yeah.
response there. And so
Yeah.
what that would have looked like in that situation is to say, you're right, actually, the pork was a little bit overcooked. And
Yeah.
to be able to lean towards that.
Let's give another example here. What's some impossibly untrue criticism I could level at you? Or one that you could level at me? You could say, like David Burns, admit that you're a worthless human being, or anything.
Perfect.
Okay.
David, I need you to admit that you're a worthless human being. I know it, and everyone knows it.
I suspect that's true because I have so many faults. And to tell you the truth, I don't feel especially worthwhile at all. And that's not even one of my goals. But when you say that I'm worthless, you're probably looking at some of my many faults, like I can be insensitive sometimes and say things that hurt people's feelings. Can you tell me what you've noticed?
Yeah, exactly. You're just always walking around being mean to people and attacking people. And even now, you're being aggressive towards me.
So you're feeling like I'm not being warm and supportive toward you right now. And I was feeling that awkwardness again. And maybe I'm not acknowledging how kind of hurt you've been feeling and criticized and judged and put down and alone. And I'm really sad and ashamed to hear that I've been doing that to you. I wonder if I'm getting it now.
Oh yeah, you're getting it. That's exactly what I was saying.
Well, to quote the Buddha, go screw yourself. But a little humor there. But how was that?
That was wonderful, especially I think the piece that was maybe missing in the first part was acknowledging my feeling. And when I sent that back to you, you got the message and sent it back and let me know that you did hear and care about what I was thinking and feeling. And it felt very warm.
Nice. Okay, so start out with a B- and maybe improve the grade with a little repeat try. Should we try a role reversal? Is there something I can hit you with that's totally ridiculous?
Hit me with the same one. I think that same one would have a very similar impact on me.
And what should I say?
That I'm completely worthless.
Oh, yeah. Could I talk to you for just a minute, Adam?
Oh, sure.
I know you're all excited about joining the app team and, learning these therapy skills and stuff like that. But I just wanted to remind you that you're actually a totally worthless human being. And Sevda and I have been talking about that nonstop.
You know what? You're right about that. When I came on, I promised you that I would bring all of this worth and value, and I just haven't been delivering that to you. And I'd imagine that you feel very disappointed and upset and maybe even used and a little bit angry at me. And admittedly, I feel embarrassed and sad too because I care about and respect you a lot. And I made that promise to you, and I feel a lot of shame knowing that I haven't been following through on that. And I would really like to understand more about what that's been like to you. And I realize that, when I say that I'm going to follow through on something and I don't, that it really hurts. And I'd especially like to hear about that. Can you tell me more about the hurt and potentially the anger that you're feeling towards me with how I've been treating you?
Well, I'd give that like a strong A-. And the thing that would have made it even stronger for me would be, can you tell me, David, exactly what I've been doing?
Oh, yeah, to get specific.
That's the be specific, because then I would have had to say uncle, because I can't think of anything. But this is also a nice way to practice.
This takes so much practice, and I've been practicing this for years and years and years, and I still make mistakes. And so we created a way to practice in the Feeling Great app. You might be wondering what the Feeling Great app is. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm a licensed therapist and one of the designers of the Feeling Great app. And the Feeling Great app is an AI chat tool that's meant to not just help you feel a little bit better, not just help you find relief, but truly feel great. And the methods in the app are developed by the legendary David Burns. And in a very structured and routine way, they're meant to walk you through the exact process that David uses to help his clients feel better. And to our surprise, the app has been incredibly effective. You might wonder, have people gotten 20% better, 30% better, 40% better? No. Believe it or not, in one single 1.5 hour chat session, people people have actually seen a 70% improvement on average in their negative mood. So if you'd like to feel great, and gosh, would we ever love that to you, download our app in the App Store today.
And that bot is, we're calling it the Love Bot. It's a part of the Feeling Great app. And if you'd like to learn these techniques, check it out and see what you think. I think you'll really love it. It's a very patient teacher, but it'll do role reversals with you back and forth until you master each of the 5 secrets of effective communication. And if you're willing to put in the time, it can really have a life-changing effect. So, bye-bye.